During this COVID-19 pandemic, in crisis mode, most of us are all worried about health and wealth. Joining us today, Jennifer Lozado, to share some insights on where we can focus our energies and maybe where we should be right now. Jennifer, it's great to see you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We're used to seeing each other and having conversations in studio and gaining insight, but of course, times are different these days. But one thing that is remaining steady is sort of some philosophies on the wealth component, right? We're learning more about the health component, but as this evolves with wealth, there are some things to keep in mind.
Oh, definitely. It's a scary time for investors from just the perspective they've seen the stock markets really go off a cliff in terms of value. And it happened very quickly. And people were wired for action, and people want to know what to do and if they should do anything. And it's really key to make wise choices and not react, and instead make deliberate decisions with your finances.
Jennifer, it's so hard, I feel, to wrap your arms around, this end up because so many of us may be unemployed. We've lost our jobs. So many of us may still be working. The economy needs our help, but we don't have money to spend. And then this, and then that, and it's hard to wrap your arms around what steps to take.
Definitely. I mean, it's the job losses are staggering, and it's having a huge effect on our economy. It's, I'm sure, pushing us into a recession. And I was listening to a very well-known economist a week or so ago named Ed Lazier, and he was talking about how this recession is different from the previous recession that was kicked off by the financial crisis, and that recession was a demand evaporated. It was a demand kind of lack of demand recession. And this is lack of supply because we can't go to restaurants and we can't go, and people who rely on those jobs in the entertainment industry or the travel industry and the restaurant industry have no choice, but they have no income. And so, but it's a supply side recession, which indicates that we could have a very quick recovery from this because we have pent up demand from it. But yeah, there are some, like the CARE Act, there are some federal programs that will start to help people. People should have already started getting some relief from that stimulus bill. And people just need to be really careful with how they spend their money right now. But if you are one of the fortunate ones that still does have a job and income, it would be great to get takeout from a restaurant. And I mean, the grocery stores are crazy, but the restaurants aren't so much, and find ways that you can support your local community through how you spend the dollars and to be mindful through that, how you can spend your money in places that you want to be still there when this is over.
And that's one universal, Jennifer. I think that even in the best of times, right, this philosophy of make it count, I think now it's making it count a little bit differently. We've got about 2 minutes left. You have some tips as to what an investor should do. And I almost hesitate to use the word investor. It's almost like someone who has some money to do some things with.
Mhm.
These are some insights that you're recommending.
Definitely. I think the biggest thing is to have some perspective on history. And if you are an investor and have money in the stock market and you've suddenly seen a 40% decline in value, if you look at history and every major market event from 1987 flash crash through the financial crisis, the markets have really recovered within a year or less. The two exceptions are the banking and savings and loan crisis in the late 80s and the terrorist attack. But then even then, the markets were about back to even after 1 year. So don't think this is forever. I think if you have an investment philosophy in place, maybe buy some more stock while the market is down is a good thing. But what people want to do is sell into it. And that's really one of the worst things you can do because you've sealed in your losses. And then you've got to figure out, when do you get back in, which is not an easy decision, and nobody's perfected that. So really take a deep breath, stay where you are, and if possible, and you have the money resources to do so, even buy back into the stock market some. And that way you'll be in position to capture the gains when they come back. And they will eventually. Nobody knows how long it will take, but
Yeah.
we've already seen about a 50% bounce back from the bottom of this correction. And so because the stock markets are forward looking, and as we see the virus, it looks like the curve is flattening. market participants will start to say, oh, we're going to recover soon. Let's start buying stock. And so you want to be part of that wave if you are an active investor.
Taking a deep breath definitely helps, because even in just listening to the words of wisdom, I start thinking, well, this and then that. But it's taking a deep breath and looking at it from that perspective of, if you are invested, this is one of those things you could frame as an opportunity, in that it is a time to buy if you have some resources to be able to put into play.
Yes, definitely. And, some people, even at the beginning of their career, if they're just putting money into a 401k, put as much as you can, let your company match it, buy while the market's down there. It doesn't have to be a major move to benefit you in the long run, for sure.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. I feel so at peace just talking with you and learning more,
Good.
right? We can finally wrap our arms around something.
Yes, good. Yes. Thank you for having me. I always enjoy chatting with you.
Yeah, our pleasure for sure. Thanks for making time. And we'll include a link on our website, WTVR.com/VTM, so that you can learn more from Jennifer Lozado.